You are now listening to the Dad Rules Podcast with your hosts, Mario E.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dad Rules Podcast, where we help you dad better. I'm one of your hosts, Mario E. My other co-host, Kid. What's going on?
Going good, man. I just want to let you know, man, I love the intro, man. We do it every week, but you the best in the business, bro.
Oh, man, go ahead, man. All right, so today's topic is all about forgive and forget. I know we've all heard that before, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about forgiveness today. Kid, you want to start us off?
No, man, I don't want to start this off.
Start it off.
I don't know. Look, I know what I'm going to say, and I don't know, man. I don't know how it's going to be taken, but hey, here it goes.
Okay.
I'm all about forgiveness, man. I really am, but that forget part, I ain't forgetting, man. I'm not forgetting. Like, maybe I should forget, but I don't know. Like, should we?
No,
I mean, do you think we should really forget the past? Because if you forget the past, then doesn't it repeat itself?
So when you say you're not forgetting, are you speaking about the actual forgetting it? Like, okay, I forgot it and I don't remember it anymore. Or are you speaking about, I'm not going to let it go? Because to me, that's the difference. I know the saying is forgive and forget. You know, no, I can't necessarily forget, or I won't forget, and I'm just making up something, the first time that I got my heart broken, but I'm past it. I'm not holding against that person for breaking my heart. You understand what I'm saying? So that, we playing with words here, and I'm just trying to understand what it is that you're saying.
I would say forgive and let go.
Okay.
But I don't think it's smart to forget.
Okay.
I just
Explain.
don't. I just
Explain.
don't.
Break that down.
I mean, oh man, see, this is going to contradict what I want to say too. Because I feel like, okay, all right, if you did something to me and then I forgive you and then I totally forget about it and that situation and stuff like that, I just completely just forget it and it's done with, and I give the next person the same chance. And then they bring up the same characteristics of you, then I need to be aware of that. And now I'm going to handle this person differently. But see, that's wrong because like that's poison for like new relationships. It's a lot of people out here that have been through something and then they forgive somebody and then they move on, but they still kind of haven't let it go. They say they have, but they really haven't. And then as soon as that person says something, then that triggers them to back to what happened to them years ago. So I give a crazy example. Let's say that a lady is in an abusive relationship or something like that, and the guy used to always get up and make eggs every morning. And you know what I'm saying? That's what he ate every morning was like eggs. That was his go-to every morning. He ate eggs, and he was abusive, just a terrible guy to her, right? And then they break up. She's forgiving him, and she's done with him or whatever. And then she gets in the next relationship, and then this guy is making eggs again. And then you go back to what, you know what I'm saying? And not in that crazy scenario, but let's say just using words, okay? Like, let's say the type of words that this person used, or they might have said something like, man, like for you, let's say that you weren't really there for your kids or something like that in a previous marriage or something like that. And I say, man, you weren't there for your kids. And then the next person comes along and they're like, man, when we was at the park with your kids the other day, you weren't there. And then you get in a flashback about, you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes people have to like walk on eggshells around other people because of their past and stuff like that. I feel like in that sense, man, you got to forget some things because, and I feel like counseling comes into place, therapy comes into place too, at that point, because man, some people can't move on to new relationships and they mess up stuff with good people because they still holding on to things that happened to them before, just because of similarities there.
That's true.
But if you a shady dude and you mess me up in business or something like that, and then I move on, and then I pick up those same traits from another guy, I'm like, man, you remind me of such and such. Like, maybe I need to slide on this deal. That's why I say I feel like you shouldn't forget, because sometimes that intuition is good. I think sometimes what people think are red flags are not red flags all the time, though. I think you need to be able to determine that, but when you truly heal, I think you can determine it better. Does that make sense? I know I'm all over the place and it sounds crazy, but
no, I understand what you were saying there. I understand what you were saying. I do. So yes, definitely you need to forgive people, right? Yeah. And you definitely need to let it go. I think there's just as human nature, you're going to remember certain things. So are you going to truly forget everything? No, you're truly not going to forget everything. But that's why I was asking, if you're talking about holding grudges and things like that, no, you don't need to be doing that. That's not where it's at.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all, man, because, a lot of times people that have wronged you, that have done things to you, sometimes I found that they don't even know that they did those things to you. And then even if they do know, they moved on with their lives just because of who they are, or maybe they're not walking in love like they should. And for them, they go around hurting people all the time and it's nothing to them, but here you are, you haven't let it go. And, it's weighing on you, it's laying on you to the point where it's stressing you out and causing you all this mental anguish that it necessarily shouldn't be. I get what you're saying too. A lot of times, and you see this again, like you said, in relationships a lot, where a guy or girl where they may have gotten cheated on, and the person that was cheating on them, their excuse was working late. And so now you're in a new relationship and this person says they're working late, and you may immediately go to, oh, it's the same thing that happened in the last relationship. It could be something legit, they really could be working late. Or like you said, it could be one of those red flags and stuff like that, but those are things that you don't know. But to me, you should give people a benefit of the doubt, and you should probably, trust them until someone gives you a reason not to, but that's not necessarily forgiving or forgetting, but that's just giving someone another chance.
Everything is not a red flag. I want to make that clear, like, because it was like a trending thing on social media about like red flags and stuff. I'm like, y'all, everything is not a red flag. And I think some people miss out on some good people sometimes because they feel like everything is a red flag,
or they listen to what their friends or family or or someone else is trying to tell them, or what social media is trying to tell them is a red flag.
I think one of the guys, it was on social media and I was listening to him, and he said he was talking about relationships. He was like, you got standards and you got preferences. And we said, he was talking about standards. He said, y'all got to understand what standards are, okay? Having a standard for somebody. This is in relationships. This is in parenting. This is in friendships. A standard is that you respect me. A standard is that you treat me right. A standard is that you love me. That's what a standard is in a lot of our relationships. A preference is different. A preference is she got to have blonde hair. A preference is she got to have short hair. That's a preference. We can deal with preferences. Standards, that's not a standard. In other words, I gotta have, I've talked with women and some of them say, he gotta make $100,000 or I want him to make $100,000 or whatever. That's a preference. That should not be your standard. If that is classified as your standard, honey, I'm sad to say you might end up being by yourself, And I think a lot of times it's so much in our relationship. I feel like our standards and our preferences are totally off.
Yeah. They get them confused. Sometimes people get them confused.
Right. So, and then if you got the wrong people advising you, like you said, cousins, uncles, aunts giving you advice, and they don't have those set up, because like I said, if you you forgiving somebody and you trying to move on, and then you saying something happened in your last relationship, and then they saying something happened here, ho, you don't know that this is what he's doing because he's working late. Okay. How is he treating you? Okay.
Yeah. And I would argue, kid, that if you are taking that into the next relationship, have you really forgiven that person before? Because I feel like if you truly have forgiven someone, if you think about what forgiveness is supposed to be, right? If you've truly forgiven this thing over here, that's not going to come up again. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if let's say, if we using relationships, and that's what we're doing, right? But let's say if your girl or your wife did cheat on you, and you took her back, and it seems like we talked about this before on the pod, but are you definitely, is that definitely forgiveness if you're going to bring it back up just because they did something that almost seemed like what they were doing before? Is that truly forgiveness?
But we talked about too, behavior has to change.
Right.
Behaviors have to change. If the behaviors don't change, then you can't blame me for bringing this back up. Look, this is the person that you used to be, and now you acting like this. And like I said, I was talking to a lady the other day, and she was talking about all the change that she had went through. And she talked like the change happened very fast. The person that she used to be to the person that she is right now, so like it took like 6 months. And she said, I think she was saying like how her mom was able to see the difference in her really quick. You know what I'm saying? And it was simply because of your behaviors changed. Because people close to you, they can tell with your behaviors. When your behaviors are changing, when those behaviors change, you change.
Yeah.
But if those behaviors are still similar to the person that you don't want people to think you are anymore, you're not giving me nothing to work with.
Yeah.
And I think you can't expect that from people to say, no, you forgave me, you're not supposed to say this no more. But hold on now. You done cheated, I done forgave you, and we moving on, and they're not bringing this up no more. But that means you need to stop staying out late like that, like you were when you were doing that. You need to stop hanging around the people that you were hanging around when you were doing that. Yeah. You still going back. Okay, you got away from them a little bit. Now you starting to hang with that crowd again. Like, man, come on.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Don't do that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, no, I follow you. But forgiveness is still important. You still got to forgive, though. Like, you got to still talk about the behaviors that come afterwards, but forgiveness should definitely still be there. You need to forgive.
And a lot of times, men, that being done wrong in relationships and stuff like that, man, it might be trying to keep that family together. And the woman might be out here doing her thing or whatever. And you can't keep pushing him like that, because you got to think about male ego. You got to think about pride. Like some of this is our DNA, man. We have to bring ourselves under to keep that stuff down. But you already got me feeling some type of way. You already got me out here looking a certain type of way. Like, man, get it together. You know, you can't, I just say those behaviors have to change. Because even like with disrespect, and this goes with friends and all that stuff, somebody disrespect you, calling you names, or they said something in front of some people and maybe embarrass you or whatever. And I done forgave you. We don't need to joke for a while. Or you need to keep the jokes on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Because you went too far last time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you come back, I done forgave you, and you automatically start going back again, and you getting reckless like you was before, you getting loose lip like you was before, like, it's hard for me to forget. And I think sometimes we think that forgiveness is, I'm sorry, I accept your apology, I forgive you. Sometimes when I forgive you comes out of your mouth, it's still not there yet, because we forget that forgiveness is a process. And sometimes certain situations take longer than others. And sometimes you're not going to get that I'm sorry, and that process can take even longer, because it's a process of even moving on. You know, because I know it's been times where I've had to forgive people early and pretty much be like, all right, I'm not cool with you no more. We done. I'm not thinking about you. I'm good. And then the apology comes years later. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a process there at the beginning of forgiveness. And then once I really forgave the person, then later on, after I was totally over it, and I forgave him. But even when you have situations like that with friendships, it affects new friendships. And I've talked about this before, how new people come into your lives. You might have a coworker or something like that, man, and they really cool and they want to be your friend and stuff like that. And you just very distant because you've had friends in the past. And you do get to a point when you get to that certain age. I don't know what age it is. You get to a certain point where, man, it's really hard to make new friends, because you just man, people phony. People phony, man. And you just think like people got their agendas, and a lot of times they do.
Sometimes.
And then even for a work friend to really cross that that line of being a personal, life friend, that's a process. Because sometimes people they just cool with you at work and stuff, but you can find a lot of good people who you work with, man. You really can. That's
a fact. That's a fact.
People really are genuine, even though y'all don't hang out outside of work or anything like that. But I don't know, man. That forgetting part, I don't know why. Forgive and don't bring it up. Forgive and let it go. I can get with that. Forgive and forget is harder. It's harder.
The way I look at, just forgiveness altogether, to me, it's very important to forgive. We have to forgive. Or else, we won't be forgiven. I can think of plenty of times wherein I've done things and I've needed forgiveness.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to hurt that person's feelings. I didn't mean to say that,
No.
I thought what I was doing was okay, and I didn't realize that I had hurt someone, and I needed forgiveness. And so I didn't want, I wanted to be forgiven. And so therefore, you also have to forgive,
Yeah.
That's the way I look at That's the way I look at forgiveness. And, no, I wouldn't want them to kind of bring up in my face every single time, I remember that time 10 years ago, you said blah, blah, blah.
Man, come on, man.
Don't nobody want to hear that. So like, I think you need to do the same thing with forgiveness on your end,
At that point,
extend that same grace. Extend that same grace that they gave to you when they forgave you. And I think that's very important.
I think forgetting should happen then, especially when you still in the same relationship with that person and you said something crazy 10 years ago. Man, if my wife held me accountable to something that I said or did 10 years ago in our marriage, man, that would be very annoying because I'm like, hold on, man. Do you realize how young we were? I'm not even that same person no more. Not even in that same mindset. Like, but how do you feel about like little stuff? Like, particularly between like you and your wife. At the beginning, I felt like in our marriage where something is said or something, and like that forgiving process in the home takes longer. But like now, the same thing can happen, and it's like if it's forgotten really quick. Like, look, like the other week or something like that, we would ride in the car, and Shanika was driving, and looked like a car had pulled. I think she went out a little bit further because she was trying to see, around the curve, but she was kind of out there. So the car came up and they kind of stopped. And I was like, honey, right there, how you be like, yo, the car right there or whatever. And I think she got frustrated about it. And I was just kind of like, all right, man. Like, you just like, man, it ain't that serious, yo. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I'd have got mad. We might not talk for like a day or something like that, or rest of the day or whatever. But like, we got home, man, and it was just over.
Yeah.
Like, what is that your relationship just got better, or you just feel like I forgive like little stuff like that? It's like, all right, man, she got frustrated. She shouldn't have really got frustrated, but like, I'm really forgiving that, and I'm forgetting it. Like,
you
don't even think about that.
I think
maybe that's what they mean by forgive and forget.
Yeah, I think it's maturity, man. I think it comes with maturity. It comes with growth. I think, like you said, forgiveness, the ability to forgive and forget, I think is a big, you could argue that it's a process. Some people may be better at it than others, and some people have to, kind of, grow at it. And so I think it's probably a process for some people, and it's just how it is for certain things. And I think it's,
but I think we definitely have to talk about like forgiveness even with our kids and like the things that they do. Man, Jonah is like a quick turnaround. It's like a quick turnaround. Like, he'll be mad, tell him to go upstairs. Dude will be up there like 5 minutes. He come back down like ain't nothing happening. Like, kids have we can learn a whole lot from them about forgiving and all that stuff. Even when he's being disciplined, like, it's a quick turnaround. He don't hold it, and sometimes he has gotten me upset, and 20, 30 minutes later, I'm like, try and come back, try and be my friend. I'm like, oh, bro, going somewhere. But, it's like, you just gotta, and really when you think about life, and we lost somebody in our family this week, and when you really think about how short life is, Jonah's right. Man, 5 minutes, get out your feelings and move on, because we wasting precious time with each other.
Yep.
Straight up.
Yep.
We don't know. We don't know. Tomorrow could be the last day. today could be the last day that we spend with each other. Mm-hmm. So that 30 minutes that you mad with somebody is very valuable.
Yep.
And it's really not worth it.
And
it's not worth it at all.
Yep. And to your point, forgive yourself. Mm-hmm. Forgive yourself too. Some people, they hold on to things that they did. They know they might have messed up on some things, but you can't let that stress and all that lay on you, man. You gotta forgive yourself a lot of times for a lot of things too, man. And so that's just how it is. Forgive others, forgive yourself, so that, the Lord forgives you.
Right. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for listening to the Dad Roots podcast with Mario E and Kid. We'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Rules podcast with your host, Mario E and Kid. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Breaker, and Player FM. Till next time.